and I'm settling in for the, almost what I never thought I would say, the trophy parade. The Europa League trophy parade. Just trying to sort out my tripod so I can get this done properly. But yes, throughout the day I will basically be doing live videos and making lots of content because of the trophy parade. There's Connor. Hello, Connor. Good to see you, mate. Hello, Captain Sahab in the comments. Yes, so here I am. I'm at the Beehive, which is yeah, and it's very empty, but I wanted to get here early so that I could make some videos, but also just want to talk about Tottenham. I hope you all got to see my video yesterday. I did a live video yesterday called The Hangover. I was incredibly hungover. Well, here I am back on it for the trophy parade. Al Jennings says, good afternoon, Barnaby. I'll be there later with my son. Excellent. Logic asks, are you going to the parade from the start? Yes, I am. So the Beehive is like one of the best, in case you can't get to Tottenham very often, the Beehive is one of the best pubs. It's got this amazing big pub garden, like I just showed you, but I'll show you some more of. And so I wanted to get a prime spot in this pub garden for the first kind of few hours, because the parade doesn't start till 5:30. And my best mate Ben is coming down here, and we're going to watch it together. And I hope, but it'll be up to Ben as well, but I hope that we will be heading to the stadium, because the stadium is kind of where I think the end of the parade happens, up at the kind of hub bit. And that's where I think the bus will end up stopping. And hopefully that is where we will be for all the celebrations. And for me, I just genuinely hope that the players are still absolutely pissed getting on it. I've loved all of the social media stuff I've seen with them. There's a brilliant fucking clip of like Christian Romero in his sunglasses at the after party dancing to dance music, Brennan Johnson, Mikey Moore looking absolutely trashed. And I, for one, just hope that they're still trashed. I've seen a few people being like, oh, the game on Sunday will be I disagree. These are elite footballers, so they can get pissed today, again, and then they can have a rest day tomorrow and then be ready, I think, on Sunday. And I think we're going to absolutely smash Brighton on Sunday. I know, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again now. I think there'll just be so little pressure, and I think they'll play Ange ball and they'll smash them. Son Heung Messi says, where are you at, Barnaby? I'll be on my way from Peckham soon. I live near Peckham as well, Son Heung Messi. I'm at the Beehive. So the Beehive is just around Bruce Grove near the station. Chance and Cube says, what are you drinking, mate? Can I have a sip? I'm drinking a Moretti. Lewis Wells says, we're just going to be vibing still. And LV3, yes, I saw this. A mural of Brennan Johnson's getting unveiled. That's right. I saw that the mural is being painted as we speak. KS says, congratulations to Spurs. Hope you also go past the Emirates Stadium and show them how you celebrate a trophy. If you go on my Instagram, actually, because I just came through Highbury and Islington Station, I posted a picture of the Tottenham Hotspur parade notice board that they had to put up at Highbury and Islington Station. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So I put a picture of that on my story. So go to Barnaby Slater Comedy if you want to see that. LV3 says, gone to service my car, then I'm off to Ali Pally to park up for the parade. And yeah, Kiwi Spurs TV says, yo, that black kit is fire, Barnaby. Okay, so story on this black kit. This is a TikTok special, but I'm pretty sure this is the design for next season's away kit. And just people on TikTok are very clever. And whenever the algorithm sends me a kit that I like the look of, and I happen to be drunk at the time, I end up buying it. And that's how I've got this. But I do think it's similar, if not the same, as next year's away kit. So I'm a bit early, basically. Mini Cheese says, what time is the parade? It's 4:12 a.m. in Los Angeles here, lol. Min, sorry, not Minchi. Thank you so much for your comment. The parade's at 5:30 English time, so what are you? You're 8 hours behind, so 8:30 a.m. 8:30 a.m. for you, Min. So get a bit more sleep or stay on the stream, and you'll be ready for the parade later on. Dr. Gerhard says, Reguilon and Maddison holding up that banner. Aren't they the ones we thought were against him? Goes to show how much the squad loves Ange. Yeah, let me know in the comments, where are you on Ange right now? By the way, please do press like on this stream if you haven't already. Really appreciate how many of you are tuning in. Where are you at with Ange? I've been listening to some of the podcasts. I just listened to Ali Gold on Golden Guest Talk Tottenham and Rob Guest, actually. Rob Guest who's an Everton fan, but he was the most kind of staunch about it. He just said, you cannot get rid of Ange Postecoglou after he's just won you the trophy. And I have to say, I agree. And there are reasons, not just kind of heartstrings pulling reasons, but also I do think if we get rid of him now, what will the players think? But also, it's a real poison chalice for a new manager to come in, isn't it? If he comes in after that, because the moment he has a bad run of games, then the fans will be like, well, you shouldn't have got rid of Ange. Aaron, thank you so much for your super chat, mate. I really appreciate it. Aaron says, working today, unfortunately won't get to watch the parade. Have a good day. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you so much for that. And welcome to being a pro member, Hans van der Mullen. Really appreciate that. If you want to be a member of my channel, it's only £1 a month. All the details are in the description box below. You can either be a YouTube member or a Patreon member. It's both the same price, so thank you. Maria says, not just won a trophy, but won a trophy in capitals, trophy for Spurs, and backed himself long before. Exactly. Someone else with the comment, but it's a different language, so I can't pronounce that comment. Apologies. I can't pronounce your name, but it says, some Spurs fans do not realise how stupid you've got to be to not have won a European Cup in 42 years. A guy supposedly can get you the trophy and you'd want him to leave, lol. The thing that I really think Ange has got going for him above and beyond everything else is that he's come out and said, basically from January, we made the decision that we're not going to be concentrating on the league. We're going to be concentrating on the Europa League. And if that's the truth, and if Daniel Levy knew that, then I don't think there should be any question. And I think it'd be interesting, won't it? Because for Sunday, before Sunday's game, there'll be programme notes. It's where Daniel Levy usually does his kind of last message to the fans at the end of the season. I personally think that would be the time in his programme notes to say, just in case there's any doubt, we're sticking with the manager. He did, I don't know if you've seen that clip of Daniel Levy celebrating, doing a little speech at the after final party. He did thank Ange. So I think those programme notes would be a really good moment. Personally, that's how I feel. Jay Ashraf says, Barnaby, it's unacceptable. He binned off the league in January, and if he starts poorly next season, that's transfer budget wasted. And we'll miss out on better managers sacking him during the season. Listen, the way that clubs are designed now with sporting directors means it doesn't work like that. The manager doesn't have the be-all and end-all on the players that come in. Like, he gets a say for sure, and probably the final say. But Johan Lange, Scott Munn, if he's still around, obviously Paratici, all the rumours are that Paratici, I say it both ways, is that he'll be back. So I'm not too worried about that. I think we'll be buying players as fits the transfer strategy and as fits, what we've been looking to do. A mix of young players like equivalent to Bergvall and Gray with exciting high ceiling and potential. And then hopefully there's been a lot of talk coming out of the club that this time we're going to look for experienced players ready to hit the first team now as well. Kind of akin to Dominic Solanke last summer. Super Cute Cutie, great name, says, I think we have to keep Ange till next season, then see. He deserves more time to fully form the Super Tottenham team with new signings with Champions League chances. We can sign very good players. I agree, Super Cute Cutie. I totally agree. I think that's exactly what we should be thinking about. Big Ange deserves a grand summer window for bringing us glory. That's great. Mr. Squonkster, what a name as well. If we keep the manager, then I won't be spending any of my money on the club until he's gone. Arrogant, petty man. So there's still some negativity around, which is sad. Chancellor Cube says, Ange has an aura. His statement, I always win things in my second season, gave him an aura. I will personally keep him. Yeah, I agree with that, I have to say. Silence. Ange in for next season, extend his contract 100%. Now, this is an interesting one. I would keep him on, but I wouldn't extend his contract right now. I think that's a dangerous game. I think because he has 1 year left of his original 3-year deal, Ange, and I think you say, okay, we're going to see how it goes. And then sure, if he makes a great start to the season and we're doing well in the Champions League, then yes, then extends his contract then, but I wouldn't extend it yet because that's what Man United did with Ten Hag and they regretted that and ended up paying him a lot of money. Mike Thomas asked, packing the beanie. Now, I will say, I said on yesterday's live that I'll be wearing the beanie, the orange beanie. I do have it with me, but it's going to be a very hot day today. It's already pretty warm in London, so I won't be wearing it certainly early on, but if it gets cold later on, I will wear it. But look out for me, I'll be in this black Spurs shirt. And I mean, I've got ridiculous hair, so I don't think you'll be able to miss me if you get anywhere near me. I'm also 6'2", which helps. Cantab says, we also went further into both domestic cups, to be honest. That's a good point. Lots of you just saying, Coys. Love it. Stephen King, coming with daughter number 1. Does that mean it's your favourite daughter, Stephen? Or is it just your eldest daughter? I'm hoping the latter. Just want to talk about some more. How good is it just being a Spurs fan right now? Like, a friend of mine was texting me like, how do you feel? And I just said, honestly, I just feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. And if you've seen all of those social media clips of people when they were in the stadium in Bilbao and some in the stadium at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at the end of the game, just those clips where they're filming the last few seconds when Vicario is about to take that goal kick that that then leads to the final whistle, and just everybody breaks down in tears, and that is the weight off the shoulders. Amazing. Oh my God, Moose City, thank you so much. This incredible super chat, thank you so much. It says, Barnaby the legend, question for you, mate. Do you think Sonny deserves a statue? And where does he rank for you as all-time Spurs legend? For me, he's honestly past Kane and could be top 5. Well, do you know what? I haven't given that any thought about him versus Kane. He's definitely a legend. I think I have to say, I think Tottenham are a little tight with their statues. There is a bust, I think, a bust of Bill Nicholson's head, but there's no real statue of him. And Billy Nick won the double for us. So whether Sonny would get a statue, I don't know. But if you look at it in terms of them lot down the road, Woolwich Arsenal, they've got statues of Bergkamp and some of those guys, Henry. It wouldn't be, I think it would be right. I would love it if at some point down the road they did a statue of Son and Kane together, because in terms of their partnership and the longevity in which they had that partnership, then you'd have to say they are absolute stone cold legends of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So something like that down the road, as Kane is the highest ever scorer and Son is the one to lift the trophy and break the drought, yeah, that would work for me. That would be brilliant. What do you guys think, more importantly? And thank you so much for that super chat. Absolutely incredible. Lewis Wells says, not going to lie, I've been on social media non-stop soaking up all the feel-good content. I was 15 when we won the League Cup. Been a long time coming. Yeah, mate. So I was 27 when we won the League Cup. And I was 18 when we won the previous League Cup. And I was 10 when we won the last FA Cup. So it's been a long gap in between all of those successes. And I'm hoping that a bit of momentum. Here's what I've been thinking about Ange. I was thinking about it on the bus on the way here. If you're Ange and you keep your job and Levy says, keep going, then you get in first day of pre-season, you go, all right, boys, we did what we set out to last season. We set out to get into the Champions League and win a trophy. That monkey is off our back. Now, this is what the goal is this season. To play like we did in those Europa League knockout games in every single league game, by which I mean make ourselves hard to beat, earn the right to play the kind of football we want to play, earn the right on the pitch, by which I mean be skanky, be rough, get in people's faces, be more physical than Tottenham have been this season. Because that's what a lot of teams have done when they've come to Spurs and turned us over. They've got in our faces and been physical and seen us as a soft touch. Well, I think we showed in that final and in all those knockout rounds that we're not a soft touch. And I think Ange, if he gets to keep his job, goes in there early next pre-season, says, this is the goal now, this season. Make ourselves bastards, make ourselves horrible to play against, and earn the right on the pitch to then play the kind of football that I want us to play. That's what I think. But let me know what you guys think. Govry Drummond says, hi, Bean, I see you looking so chilled out, man. I hope the Don will be there at the celebrations. Yeah, Chris Callan, hopefully bump into him. Hopefully bump into the We Are Tottenham TV boys. I'd love to bump into like Flav from the Fighting Cock as well. Lewis Wells has said, I win the Premier League in my third season, mate. Yeah, that would be pretty amazing. That would be pretty amazing. Sleepy Mocker says, how old are you, Bunny? I thought you were like 25 to 30. I appreciate that. I'm actually, and here is the big, I gave some home truths yesterday about some of my life, so I'll keep with the honesty. I'm 44 years old, guys. 44. I know, never did I think it would happen, but I appreciate you saying I thought you were like 25 to 30. If I look young, it's because I have no children. That is the reality. I have no children, and therefore, the responsibilities haven't led me to be as stressed out. Tremendous T says, I was 27, we won the League Cup in 2008 too. So old. 2 crying face emojis. And Rudavuka, we got a young one. I was 2 months old when we won the Cup in 2008. There you go. There you go. So listen, it's all going to be okay, because we're going to be, from here, we're going to be trophies galore. Dark Angel 56 says, looking very cool, mate. Hungover? Not today. But I was yesterday. It was a difficult day yesterday, to say the least. But yeah. Sam, the Lasnos, says, can we have Kane back now, please? What did you guys think, actually, of Kane's video? He seemed to be in his video, kind of, where he congratulated Spurs. He seemed to be responding to somebody else's question. I think it was like someone called Connor or something. I'm just going to lean back a little bit so I can get some back support. I thought he was as gracious. What I thought with Kane's video is I could see almost like the cogs turning in his head, where he's like, I play for Bayern Munich now, so what I want to do is be gracious and respect Bayern Munich, but also at the same time show how I feel about Spurs having won and say how happy I am. I also wonder with Kane, and let me know what you think, is there a little hint of jealousy there? He worked so hard for Tottenham and got so close so many times, but couldn't get it over the line, and then he leaves, and just in the second season after he leaves, Spurs get what I would deem to be, in my opinion, the Europa League is a bigger trophy than the Bundesliga, as far as I'm concerned, especially not if you're playing for Bayer Leverkusen, sure, but if you're playing for Bayern Munich, like winning the Bundesliga, considering the wage structure they've got compared to every other club, it's the minimum requirement, whereas winning the Europa League at Spurs, getting back in the Champions League, just bigger, if you ask me. But yeah, it was good that Kane released that video. He clearly has a soft spot for Spurs. I would love to get him back. There is a release clause, I think, that becomes active in January. But I have heard him, since he won the Bundesliga and he's been wearing the lederhosen and stuff, I have heard him talk quite a lot about how happy he is there and how he wants to continue to win stuff there. So it may just be that he ends up, not coming back to break his record in the Premier League. So who knows? Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Robert Yee says, working on the conceded goals is a must. Third season in row of over 60 conceded. Have to consider just 90 minutes a week for our centre-halves. That is the problem, isn't it? Mickey van de Ven and Romero. If we had them playing every single game, you would think, yeah, we'll definitely come at least fifth again. But it's the amount that they don't get on the pitch that is the problem. Same with Richarlison. Got quite a lot of players who unfortunately just don't get on the pitch nearly enough. And that's why I was talking yesterday, wasn't I? I was saying what I think Ange needs to do is change his style of play a little bit so that Van de Ven doesn't have to sprint as much. When you watch Virgil van Dijk play for Liverpool, right? Firestar says, wear the home kit. I don't have the home kit, and I'm in the pub already outside the parade, so I'm not going to be wearing that, apologies. But when you watch Virgil van Dijk play for Liverpool, he barely has to ever sprint because he's never in the position. So the style of play that Klopp played and the style of play that Arne Slot plays and just his positioning means he's very often just in a situation where he only needs to sprint maybe once or twice a game maximum. And that should be the case for Van de Ven as well. Like, yes, his pace is his superpower, but protect his hamstrings and just play a little bit deeper. You know, we can still have a high line. Poch played a high line, but just never quite as high as Ange. So I think just protect him. Yeah, Cantab says, no Spence or Solanke in the England team, by the way. I was surprised not to see Solanke in the England squad. Do you know what it makes me think? I wonder if he's been playing with pain-killing injections, Solanke, for these European, certainly for the final. I just wonder whether Solanke and Spurs have said to Tuchel and England, actually, he needs a rest and he needs to get back his fitness. So that's what I think. Spence hasn't been in good form for Spurs for the last 2 months, so he was never going to get in that England squad, and he just seems to have lost interest since he was dropped for what I think was the Frankfurt game for Udogie, and let's face it, it was the correct decision. It was the correct decision. Trung says, we now have lost less than 13% of games with our first choice 5 defenders. Need to give them experienced attackers, not teenagers. Yeah, we need more creativity. The Spurs just say, like I said earlier, I'm at the birdcage. The Spurs fans starting to fill this up now. A couple of old dude Spurs fans over there looking at me angrily because I'm talking on social media. Such is the way, of course. Mason Marlowe says, how have you managed to get our next season's away kit already? Well, the TikTok algorithm is very clever and constantly feeds me videos of these kits that are clearly made abroad and must be kind of non-official Nike stuff, but it's really realistic and all the badges say it is official Nike, so I can't say for sure, but I bought it. I think I only paid like 20 quid for it as well, really good. Ange Ozzy says, I told you all fire, we would win the trophy. Give Ange the keys to Spurs and watch us win another trophy next season with a top 5 finish. Listen, Ange Ozzy, I've said in every video this season, I'm desperate for it to work out for Ange. It has, and I say, I agree with you. I say you got to keep him, give him a chance next season now. The reality is he'll still be under pressure, but maybe that's just the best way that he deals with it. He'll be under pressure to get a good league start, but if he does, the players clearly love him. Everyone talks about, oh, the different, but it's the same as Ten Hag. Excuse the noise, sorry, they're just moving around some beer barrels. Everyone says, oh, but Ten Hag won the FA Cup and then they kept him and that was a mistake. The difference is, I never got the sense that the players really like Ten Hag, whereas the players clearly absolutely love Ange Postecoglou. So that's what I feel. Lewis Wells says, I just have Freed from Desire stuck in my head since all the after party clips came out. I completely agree. Jane Dyer says, where do you get the kit from? I want to get it as well. Like I said, it was just a TikTok algorithm sent it to me. I'm not sure exactly where from. Edgar Martinez Perez says, you're welcome to Bilbao and you'll be welcome next year in the Champions League. See you soon, I hope. Congratulations. I really appreciate that. I wasn't in Bilbao, but I love it when Spurs fans go away and are respected and appreciated. And Bilbao, if they get to manage to keep Nico Williams, they'll be dangerous, won't they? Rick Kane says, are those glasses hiding a wicked hangover? They're not, they're just protecting me from a bit of sun, but yesterday was the wicked hangover. How I managed to release a video at all yesterday is beyond. Cantab says, booked my flights to Budapest already, lol. What's Budapest? The Super Cup, the European Super Cup final that Tottenham will be in on August, I think it's the 13th or 14th, is in Udinese, I believe. And Jossie says, Woolwich Arsenal won an FA Cup / League Cup in '93 and finished 10th the next season. They won a European trophy. No one ever mentioned where they finished. Completely agree. And no one mentions that when we won the UEFA Cup in 1984, we finished 16th as well. So there we go. Oh, that's right, Lewis. Yes, the Champions League final is in Budapest. That's right. Yeah, the final. If you're booking your tickets to the Champions League final in Budapest 2026, then you really are impressive. You really are impressive. Rick Kane says, well deserved, brother. Thoroughly enjoyed your live calling this season. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anthony Butler saying, great to see so many former Spurs players at the game and getting around us on socials. Yeah, it's a great, like I just said it earlier, what a time to be a Spurs fan. There's a Spurs fan has come in with an Aussie kangaroo over there. Loving it. Loving it. Where do you guys feel we are then? How much do you think what happened on Wednesday night has improved our chances in the transfer market this summer? I now just feel like, oh, it's going to be an exciting summer. I always do kind of daily transfer videos during the windows, and I was just, honestly, I was like dreading having to dirge it all up when I would have known if we'd lost that game that we would have no money to spend, that there would be kind of absolutely no chance of us getting good players because all of those clubs who were in the Champions League would be able to sweep them all up. And yet now, I just feel excited about it again. I really do think there's a chance we could get some super exciting signings now this summer. Obviously, we've still got the issue that there's no kind of huge sums of cash in the bank. We've got the revenue where it means that we're able to spend whatever we want on FFP, but because ENIC and Levy don't put their own cash into it, there's not huge sums of cash, but I think we'll be spending a minimum of 100 to 150 million this summer, absolutely for sure. Fearstar says Eza and Buemo needs to join Spurs this summer, that would be good. Lewis Wells says Modric for a year or two to coach Bergwall and Gray would be amazing. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Luka Modric goes. Surely you would see that you would think he'll go to America, wouldn't you? Surely, absolutely, most likely. Chanson Cube says, so Ange has achieved more than Arteta. Arteta won an FA Cup in the COVID year, but Ange has won the Europa League, so I would say that's better, personally. Rick Kane says, love us to get Semenyo. I was disappointed. I thought we were going to go for Semenyo last summer. It was so clear that Semenyo is a top player, and he's also so big and physical. That's what I really like about him. He's a real beast, and I want us to buy more of those. So yeah, a few people saying give us Modric or KDB. Listen, I don't think it's likely that Tottenham are going to break their transfer strategy and start buying kind of players who have been there and done it for big clubs. We used to do that, and it doesn't really work. They come for kind of one last contract, one last payday, and I think we should continue with these kind of up-and-coming players, or players kind of coming into their prime who have played really well in the Premier League already. So that's why, like Solanke last year, someone like an Eza, someone like an Mbeumo, they're the kind of players that I would look to. Yes, Ayatollah says, thoughts on Ray and Shirky. Yeah, I did a video about Ray and Shirky that I released the other day, so go and check that out. He's an absolute maestro, and as I said yesterday, I really still don't feel like we've properly replaced Christian Eriksen, so Although I love James Maddison, he doesn't get on the pitch enough, so I really like him. Spiky T says Semenyo went off the boil. Well, Bournemouth have kind of gone off the boil, but the talent is definitely there, as far as I'm concerned. Custy says João Paulinho. Did he not get many games for Bayern Munich in the end under Company? Just to say, guys, please do press like on this video if you haven't already. 87 of you have. Really appreciate it. Let's try and get it to 100 likes. The more likes we get, the more people will see these videos in their suggested videos. Also, I'm super close. If there's anyone on this live video who's not a member of my channel yet, a subscriber, sorry, I'm so close to 15,000 subscribers. Do press that subscribe button for daily Tottenham content, and over the summer, daily transfer content. But I always start my transfer talk videos with the Tottenham rumours. Of course, I would be failing my job as a Spurs fan if I didn't always start with Tottenham Hotspur stuff. Ryan Souter says, hi Barnaby, what area would you like Spurs to strengthen first in the transfer window as a priority? Yeah, it's a good question. Yes, mate. Sorry, I've just got someone coming in to use the cupboard. He's been waiting around for quite a while, but actually, you're not bothering me at all, mate. You go for it. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Which area would I like us to start with? I think I think we do need more creativity, without a doubt. We need more creativity. It'll be interesting to see who leaves, because that will open up spaces. Will Ben Davis leave? You know, what will Richarlison leave, for instance? I think Richarlison has shown when he's on the pitch, he's a nuisance. He's the kind of nuisance that I would like to keep around at the club, but he is on a lot of money and he just doesn't get on the pitch enough. And there are some rumours that Everton might want to take him back for their first season in the new stadium. And if they were to pay 40 odd million quid, that would be a tempter for sure. But in terms of what we should buy, I think for me, yeah, creativity for sure, so that we're not absolutely hamstrung if we get injuries the way we have done with Maddison and Kulusevski, certainly in those last few weeks. But I would, like I said, stick to the transfer strategy in general. Young, exciting, talented players who can grow with the club, who will have a sell-on fee at the back end. If they then do so well that they want to move to a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or whatever, they're just turning on the TVs now. They're going to put on the cricket, I guess, in the short... Don't apologise to me, mate, it's your pub. Thank you, mate, I appreciate that. They're just putting on the cricket, which is a good call as far as I'm concerned. England absolutely battering Zimbabwe in the cricket at the moment. Trung says, you and Sim are my favourite commentators. When will you guys get together again? Sim's such a lovely bloke. Ben and Sim, good lads, really helped me out, gave me opportunity to work for them, and yeah, I've watched a lot of their content the last couple of days from Saudi. I love the fact that Sim has just been staunch Ange in the whole time, and Ben has been Ange out, and they've kind of almost been scrapping amongst each other. But I think Sim right now looks like he picked the right horse. Adam McFarlane says, sell Rishi, Cutie, Solomon Davis, and Timo can go. I mean, I think Timo's already gone. I actually was so shocked to see Timo Werner with a medal around his neck celebrating that victory. I was like, hold on, mate. I mean, I'd totally forgotten about him in a way, but he did play. He did play in those games. QT Romero is obviously the interesting one. I loved watching him in those post-match videos where he's partying. They all look like they're on MDMA, to be honest. I'm sure they weren't, but they were dancing to Freed from Desire at the after party, and Romero with his sunglasses on just looked like he was at a rave. Listen, do I think it's as simple now as it was for him before? Before we won that and before we got in the Champions League next season, sure, I think going to Atletico Madrid to play under Diego Simeone would be a no-brainer for him. But now I'm like, is it a no-brainer for him? Listen, there is of course a chance, as difficult as this to discuss, there's a chance Sonny might see this as the best he could do at Spurs and move on somewhere else, in which case QT Romero, I think, would be captain of Tottenham next season. If he wanted it, he could be the leader of Tottenham going forward on the pitch. I know he doesn't speak great English, but he's an absolute leader on the pitch. And he is the kind of person who I think would really grab this club by the scruff of the neck in matches. And if that goal was given to him of, actually, we want to play and be as hard to beat in those league matches from next season onwards as we were in those knockout cup matches this season, then I think that's something that would inspire him. And then the flip of that is, if he wants to go to Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid, but I think now that Real Madrid have bought Dean Howson, I think it's less likely that they'll want him. If he wants to do that, then Daniel Levy will say, sure, and I think he'll have all of our blessings to leave, but they're going to have to pay the money, and it's going to be a lot of money to buy Christian Romero. So I don't think there's anything simple about it. I really don't. Raya says, I'm so happy we got that trophy, makes the transfer window worth looking forward to, exactly. Nebo D says, we don't need Kane, he never won anything. Silence says, if Gay is close, then Romero must be leaving. Is there some report today, Silence, that Gay is close? I haven't seen anything on that. I think Newcastle will be interested in Gay as well. We got a West Ham fan in there, come on you irons. I used to work for West Ham, that was a difficult time in my life, but lovely people. Strange little club though. AS says, got to look at what Ange has done at most clubs, but also realise it was with much less than the other clubs. He's always outperformed big budget clubs. Adam McFarlane says Vuskovic will be quality and get Gahey. So Vuskovic, yeah, he's coming in. He's been on loan at Westerlo this season. He's just been called up to the Croatian national first team, which is incredible at his age. He's 18 years old, centre half. He's not the quickest from what I've seen, so he's going to have to. I mean, I guess it'll be interesting to see how he deals with English football, but he's a big old beast. He certainly, as far as I'm concerned, jumped up the pecking order kind of ahead of the likes of Alfie Dorrington and Ashley Phillips. Dorrington obviously went on loan to Aberdeen this season. Ashley Phillips, I think, at Stoke. I think Vuskovic will be ahead of him at the start of next season. Adam McFarlane says QT no pace and a liability. Completely disagree with that, I'm afraid. Devon Finnegan says rumours we're now in for Sesko and Simons, Xavi Simons. It'd be a real shame if Arsenal couldn't get a striker again. Yeah. Lewis Wells says QT will stay. I think Champions League is a big motivator for him. And Rick Kane says Romero has been immense when it counts. I completely agree. Stefan Blower says, all right, mate, hope all is good. What time does the parade start? Okay, the parade starts at 5:30. I'm, once again, if you weren't here at the beginning of this video, I'm at the Beehive pub, which is in Bruce Grove, just up the road from the stadium. My best mate Ben is coming to join me here, and it's already starting to fill up slowly with Spurs fans. They're about to put the barbecue on. They're showing some of the other sport that's going on at the moment. And although the parade doesn't come directly by the Beehive pub, Bruce Grove is just kind of like a 5-minute walk down from the stadium. So my plan is, probably with like an hour and a half, 2 hours before the parade starts, to walk down to the stadium and try and get a spot where the bus will end up at the end, which I think is by the kind of I think it's known as kind of the Spurs hub bit, or Tottenham Square maybe, that part of the new stadium where the fans pile out of the south stand. So I'm kind of going to try and aim for that. Listen guys, thank you so much for watching this. I'm loving this live stream at the moment, loving all of your questions, loving all of your comments. Once again, if you're not already a subscriber to the channel, please do subscribe for daily Tottenham Hotspur content. I'm nearly at 15,000 subs, and also you can become a member. Just £1 a month really helps me make daily Tottenham content and transfer content over the summer for you. Also, just one more plug, apologies, but this is also available as a daily audio podcast. It's called the Spurred On Podcast. So if you go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please type in the Spurred On Podcast. Go and give me a subscribe or a follow and a rating as well. Would really love it. Fraser Football says, congrats on the Europa League. Mariah says, yeah, it's a chill stream, Barnaby. Adam McFarlane says, if we lose to Brighton, do you think it will speed Levy's mind up in sacking Ange? No, I think the Brighton, honestly, I've said it already, but I think the Brighton game's just going to be a party. It's going to be a party. And listen, these are elite athletes, so I think they're going to get pissed again today. There'll be beers, I'm sure, and champagne on that bus, and rightly so. Get pissed again today, and then a bit of a hangover and a bit of a light training session tomorrow. I think from what I've read, they had a light training session this morning. And then tomorrow, they're elite athletes, so they can have the day off. And then I think they'll be well up for it on Sunday. I really do. I'd be really intrigued. I've been thinking about this. Yesterday I was all like, I think he'll play his first team on Sunday. But actually, I wonder if Ange will say to Mickey van der Ven, listen, I want you to have a really good summer, a really good rest, work on some of those. There's been talk, hasn't there, about how the medical team, the medical department, I've spoken to Mickey van der Ven about kind of changing his gait and doing training in a different way so that it helps his hamstrings. And I hope that Ange says to him, this summer is all about building up your hamstrings, getting loads of strength into them. So not playing him on Sunday, bringing in maybe a big Kev Danso or Ben Davis. And then, because the worst thing that could happen, wouldn't it, is if Van der Ven played Sunday, as much as I want him to, but then got an injury that meant he wouldn't be able to go off on holiday because he'd have to be in the physio room all summer. That would suck. And also that would like release some of the air from the balloon that is us just being so happy to be Spurs fans right now. I don't know, let me know what you think. Super Cute Cutie says Leicester won the Premier League, also parking the bus in most of the games. Most of the games only won it. Listen, thank you for your comment, obviously. I don't think it needs to be that next season we need to park the bus every game. and hit on the break. I just think it's like, I really think just so many teams have played Spurs this season, been like, if you beat them in the physical side of the game, then you'll win the game. And what I'm just suggesting for if Ange stays, and I hope he does, is that he gets into the players really early in the pre-season next season, that actually he wants us to earn the right to play the football we deserve. So in the first 15 minutes of games, half an hour of game, just being really physical, really strong, and dominating teams like that, bullying other teams, and to help that, it would help if we bought a few more players who were physical. And then that earns the right. If you get the first goal in the Premier League, the stats on if you get the first goal in the Premier League are super high in terms of you winning the games. And therefore, that's what I think. I think be physical at the start games, earn the right to play your football. And then Ange Ball, we'll always score goals under Ange. We know that. AXL says we should be there in every race for big players now. Yeah, let me know in the comments who those big players would be that you would want us to get in. Let me have a look what else you guys saying. Ange Ozzy says the most anti-Ange fans are warming to Ange. He's the right man. Ange made sure we got enough points and focused on Europa. I really do believe we can kick on from this cup. Football goes in cycles. I don't disagree. I loved watching. There was some great social media clips I saw of, I think it was like a hotel bar in Melbourne, where all these Aussie Spurs fans were watching, and just they were so ecstatic. And as far as I'm concerned, Ange has done what it takes to deserve to have his third year of his contract. And sure, look, I think Ange would be the first one to say if we lost our first 3 games next season in the Premier League, then you'd be like, okay, fair enough, it's not right. But I think Ange can learn from things going into pre-season next season, and he can say to the players, all right, we're going to stop conceding the goals from crosses at the back post, and we're going to play, in a way that makes us harder to beat, but while still sticking to our principles. I do think that there can be a mix. Walnut 1999 says, I like that Ange trusted the younger players for the most important 10 minutes for the team. I was worried Spence would get beaten, but he did the job. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? Oh yeah, Trung says it's Matoma for sale. What a player he is. But unfortunately, because Brighton have sold so many players to Chelsea for like £100 million, I don't think Spurs are in the waters where they can buy Brighton players anymore, unfortunately. Matoma is a magnificent player. Maria says it's time for Levy to open the floodgates. To be fair, he has, since 2019, spent the third most money in the Premier League. So he gets a lot of stick, and he rightly gets stick for, we're pretty low on the wages now scale. But a lot of that is because we got rid of a lot of the highly paid deadwood, the likes of, not all deadwood, sorry, the highly paid players, the likes of Perisic, Dyer, and then also obviously Kane and Lloris, who are all on kind of 200 grand a week. 4i Bar HK says, is that the next season journey? Man, looks really cool. Black is the colour. Yeah, I love this top. I got it from TikTok, like I said earlier, on the algorithm sent me it. So God knows who made it, but it's really good. Bucky78 says, need to increase the wages. Yeah, and that will happen naturally, I'm sure. Paul G says, from the start of the season, we have a talented core of youngsters that need to be developed. Agreed. Let's get some more youngsters in as well. C. Ken says, if they fire Ange, I quit, mate. Steve Whitten says, Grealish. Like I said earlier, I do think Jack Grealish is a Spurs player. He's exactly the kind of player that Spurs have been built on. Like my life as a Spurs fan has been built on those kind of flary, exciting, ball-playing footballers. But like I said earlier, I just don't think it fits the strategy, personally, for us to go and get Jack Grealish when he's basically been on 300 grand a week for 4 years at Man City, and Pep doesn't play him. I don't know, could be wrong. Cantab says Grealish posted a congrats. Okay, great. Darren Bartlett says, Barnaby, great show as usual. Who do you think we should go out and buy? I think we need to buy some more experienced players. Yeah, I mean, look, the dream for me would be an Eze, a Semenyo, an Mbuemo, some of those players who've done it in the Premier League. I agree. Matt Smith says, where is the orange beanie? Lol, won't see you later. I did say this earlier, but I'll say again. I do have my orange beanie with me, but it's a very hot day, a warm day in London, so I'm not going to be wearing it as yet, but I am 6'2", I've got ridiculous hair, and I'll be wearing this black shirt, so come and say hello. I really appreciate all of your support. Denise Wilson, thanks for watching, says the parade is at 12:30 a.m. in Perth. I'll wait for the news headlines. Just to let you know what I'll be doing all day. So this is going to be my first stream. I'll hopefully do another live stream maybe before the parade, and then I will try and stream some of the parade live. Like I said, I'm hoping to get to the bit where the bus stops, and I've got my tripod with me, so I'll try and stream some of it. Some of the problems might be that some of the older Spurs fans don't really like social media and stuff like that, so I might get some angry people around me, and if that happens I won't be able to do it, but I'll try my best. Because like I said earlier, like what a time it is to be a Spurs fan. I just love sharing this with you guys and all of your comments in the chat. It's just so fucking cool. What a day. I've never been to a Tottenham victory parade. I don't know what it's like. I imagine it's going to hit pretty hard. I'm nearly finished my first beer. I've got some tins in my bag for later on when I'm not in the pub. And I'm excited to spend it with my best mate Ben as well, who, like I said yesterday, we met at uni 26 years ago or something like that. So, and neither of us have been to a Spurs victory parade. So he lives in Berkshire now, but he's coming down for it, which is very, very cool. And I've actually got a little present for him, which is a Spurs shirt similar to this I haven't told him about. And he can either keep that for himself or he can give it to his daughter, Etta, who is a little Spurs fan as well. Lemma says, Shirky to Spurs, I really like it. Del Boy's Gaming saying, is it packed? It's not. It's pretty quiet at the moment, but the parade doesn't start till 5:30, so it is starting to fill up, but slowly at the moment. Scott Johnson says, damn you old. Yeah, that's true. Aslan says, you deserve it, I deserve it, we deserve it. Come on, you Spurs. Bruno Gomez says, I don't think you fans that were demanding the manager be sacked during the middle of the season, even last season, deserve to celebrate this. You turned your backs on the club. Listen, Bruno, thank you for your comment. Appreciate it. It's all subjective, but I can only talk for myself. I've always caveated everything I've said about Ange with, I would love it to work out for Ange Postecoglou more than anything else. And it looks like it is. But what he is going to have to fix if he does stay at Spurs, or if he wants to get an elite job in the Premier League or in another elite league, he's going to have to fix the fact that Tottenham conceded the same goal about 25 times this season. Just opposition teams setting us up for crosses and then no marking at the back post. I'll just say this, and this is the only negative thing I'll say about the final. Do you remember that chance that came in? It might have been the Bruno Fernandes header, I think, that went wide in the second half. There are two players. If you watch that again, and there's no need to, it's just something I noticed. Like I said, I don't want to be negative, but there were two players behind Pedro Porro. So Pedro Porro had to make a choice of whether to come in narrow and try and mark Bruno Fernandes because he'd made a late run and was unmarked. And in the end, he kind of split the difference. But behind Pedro Porro were two Man United players and no marking from Spurs. So if Bruno hadn't headed that ball wide and left it, they'd have had two free chances at the back post, which is the goal that we've just conceded over and over and over this season. And the two things that I've always said with Ange where he's at risk is the fact that we concede the same goal over and over and that opposition analysts know that and they set up for it. And the fact that we don't get enough of our best players on the pitch. They get injured too much. And I'm not saying it's all Ange's fault, but listen, Liverpool basically had no injuries this season. And I think the way that he insists we train, the intensity in which he insists that we play and train does lead to injuries. That has been a common pattern amongst all of his clubs and in the books that you read about him and whatever, they all say that. So if we're going to have any chance, we're never going to have as big a squad as Chelsea or as Manchester City or as Manchester United or as Arsenal. So if we want to have a chance of competing on two fronts next year, we need to have our best players available all the time. And that's a problem for Ange as well. But I do think he has earned the right, personally, to keep going as Spurs manager. ADG says, back Big Ange. LJCPT says, when's the parade going to happen? 5:30. Nick in Hong Kong says, Barnaby, you're in the Matrix, take the red pill, Spurs are still European champions. Super QQ says, Ange made the best decision to bring in Danso to help support the defence. I agree, that was good. Walnut 1999 says, Barnaby, they should let you kiss the trophy. Ryan LT Law, thank you for your comment, mate. Another regular. When we win our next trophy, I'll meet you down there and buy you a drink. Thank you. Yeah, when we win our next trophy, the European Super Cup, August the 13th or 14th. Well, I do quite fancy going to Udinese for that. Cantab says, if Palace keep Glazer and their players, they can win the Europa. Yeah, listen, the Europa League, now that the Champions League teams don't drop into it, although I was going to say it makes it easier, but I will say this as well. Champions League teams who dropped into it down the years were never as pumped, they were never as motivated, and not many of them won it, I don't think. But yes, Palace, if they did keep Glasner, would have a good chance in Europa League. Glasner's top of my list. If Ange were to be sacked, and I don't think he should be, Glasner would be top of my list. Tiger Tony says, do you think Sully will be Ben Davies' last game for Spurs? Personally, I'll be sad to see him go. I think there was some talk about us trying to trigger an extra year that we have in his contract. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. If I was Ben Davies, I would look now to get one last big contract at a club, either at the top end of the Championship or bottom end of the Premier League, or abroad, where he can get a big contract and, you know, a 3-4 year contract. Scott Johnson says, have fun today, you earned it, Champions League will be fun. I agree. Dominic Harris says, do we need a new goalkeeper? No, I just want Kinski and Vicario to kind of teach each other what they're good at. Kinski's a brilliant distributor and great at coming for crosses, and not an elite shot stopper yet, and Vicario is an elite shot stopper and not the others, so I'd like them to teach them. Bet's friend says, uni 26 years ago, you look 30. Thank you, I appreciate that, but it's true, unfortunately. Adam McFarlane says, Palace won't sell all the players, they'll collapse. Yeah, there are some players that I would love from Palace, like Eza. Resident Evil Japan says, respect to Ange, but I wouldn't say no to the Palace manager and a few of their stars. Yeah. Anyway, listen, guys, I've really enjoyed this stream. Like I said, I'm going to try and do a few streams this afternoon. So I'm going to finish this one now, so I can go in and get another beer. And my friend Ben will be here in the next hour or so. But keep your eye on what's going on, because I will try and do another stream, at least one more live stream this afternoon. And yeah, what a day! Tottenham Hotspur trophy parade for the Europa League. Never did I think I'd see the day. Just before I go, one more, guys, please do press a like on this video if you haven't already. Please do, if you're not a subscriber already, please do subscribe to my channel. Daily Tottenham content, and then over the summer, daily transfer videos, always starting with Spurs. I will always start with the Tottenham transfer rumours, and I think there will be many, many transfer rumours for Spurs this summer now that we won the Champions League. Just going to end with this. Nikhil says in the comments, as a Liverpool fan, I was so happy to see Sonny win a trophy. Would have been great to see him win it with Kane. I agree. And I'm so happy for Sonny. Cannot wait to see him with the trophy at this parade later on. So do keep your eye out. Turn on your notifications for my channel and you'll see when I do the next live stream. Come on, you Spurs.